on Facebook. Hi to everybody hanging out on YouTube. If you are new to the channels, my name is Jamie Butler. I'm the Everyday Medium. I'm hanging out in Atlanta, Georgia today. And who is with me is hanging out in Jamaica. Look at, I can see her face, but you cannot yet. So today we're going to talk to you about a series that Dr. Adaeza and myself put together. It's called the Mindful Soul series. And for those luminaires who've been interested in my JB mentorship, which is now a 10-month program starting in 2022 in January, I'm only going to accept 10 to 12 applicants, and we start from the very beginning, bare bones of building a spiritual business, being an entrepreneur. And no matter what outlet it is, as long as you are expressing your spiritual light body into your work, that is what we're doing. And we build it from pieces, from starting it to what your mission is, to how to run your business and how not to forego your sensitivities. And in building that mentorship, I kind of came across the importance of compassionate communication, which is nonviolent communication. And I wanted to co-teach it with somebody. And Dr. Adaeza has been in my circle for a little while and helped firm up the Love and Light Institute, which is a nonprofit that I co-founded with Corey Dobbins. And it just kind of clicked. She came to the table and was just like, this is what's going to happen. And it was like magic. So I'm really excited to introduce her. Here is Dr. Adaeza hanging out in Jamaica. Hey, it's vacation, isn't it?
Yes, I cannot complain. Hi, everybody. Like Jamie said, thank you for the lovely introduction. This is Dr. Adaeza. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm currently on vacation in Jamaica, hence the raspy midnight voice that I'm giving you. Um, but yeah, I'm a physician in Atlanta, Georgia. I work as a hospitalist, so that means I work specifically in the hospital. I also am a certified personal development and executive coach, and have a lot of training in positive psychology, mindfulness, self-compassion, as well as just kind of mind-body integration. So I like to combine all of these things into one nice package to really help us really ground ourselves first, kind of get in touch with our kind of deepest intentions, mostly informed by what our body is telling us. Our body has a lot of innate intelligence that we tend to ignore. And then using that to really move forward in whatever our goals are, but really in alignment with what our soul and passion really is. So I'm excited to be co-teaching with my new friend, my like bestie in my spiritual circle. And I think this is going to be really awesome. So happy to be here and nice to meet everybody.
All right, so luminaires, when you're listening to Dr. Adaeza speak, can you not see why this had to come to light? It fits like it does when we're talking about highly sensitive people and, understanding how to hold our boundaries, how to stay confident, but not overly confident. Can we say the B word on, I don't know if we can, but that B word, how to stay in touch with our intuitive side and not forego it or give away our power to compromise, and understanding that we don't need to have conflict and into our day-to-day lives because we're protecting our intuitive sensitive body. We can actually be ourselves authentically and move with ease. So to restate, this is for anybody out there. We're going ages 16 and up. I think Dr. Adaeza, that's what we agreed, like 16 and up. If you're willing to look at your core beliefs and you want to know more about yourself, like where am I coming from? Why is this grabbing me? Why can't I step over it or move through it or let it go? That kind of a why can't I? This is the series for you. It's a 6-week series, and we're both going to be teaching. So it's 2 classes every week, which ends up being 14 hours because we have a few classes that are a little bit longer. So it's 14 hours dedication. And anybody who's interested in the JB mentorship, I'm going to require that you take this first because you're going to leave with the language and the approach, especially the whole self approach to life. And we're just going to step right in building in January on. So let's take some time to look. Katie P said, I just read over the course offering and just, wow, really feeling pulled to this opportunity for transformation and transmutation. Yes, Katie. It's scratching an itch that I've always wanted to do with the psychics and the intuitive realm and all of that, because it's based on these core things that we're going to talk about. Well, good. Colleen is putting up the link. Thank you, Colleen. Tara says, I really think self-worth should be taught in school, starting in preschool. What do you think about that one, Adaeza?
I agree with you 100%. I mean, a lot of my, really all of the work that I do outside of the hospital is informed by my own personal experiences, which I think can, a lot of us in the kind of healing arts space, probably it's similar for them. But yeah, I moved through a lot of school and training for decades and had no clue who I was, what my core values were. Self-worth was non-existent. Everything was tied to production. How much can you produce? What can you do for everybody else? But never really clear on what my solid foundation was. So yeah, I totally agree with you.
So what are some
I love
things that
that.
you're going to walk through in your 6-week series?
Yeah. So for me, a lot, I mean, my coaching and mentoring and everything that I do starts with the body. So really getting clear on what you're feeling. I think we're so accustomed to moving and going and doing, even in the empath healing sensitive people, HSP world, a lot of us are often just moving and going and doing for everybody else and not super clear on what's going on with us. And so really helping us to first ground and get some calm and using techniques like meditation, breath work, body scans, all of those, a lot of those mind body practices to ground, and then get kind of hear your own voice, that we often don't hear, but that voice is what really our soul is talking to us and telling us what we need, what we don't need. So you talked about boundaries earlier. um, a lot of times that voice is telling you what does not serve you, and we don't hear it, we don't listen, or we just don't have the space to even like acknowledge it. So really that's the foundation, that we'll start on, hearing your own voice, grounding yourself, and then moving forward. And then we'll kind of listen to our own bodies and talk, like to do a lot of group work, because I think we can help each other. There's a lot of common humanity within us. And so really getting in touch with what our core values are. So that being informed by um, how you feel as well as what other people hear you say. So sometimes we say things and don't even realize that we said it. So having a group reflect back what they hear from you, often will, usually there's tears involved with that exercise. It's very powerful. So a lot of values work, a lot of strengths. So trying to figure out kind of what your strengths are, and putting words to it. I think we sometimes know, but we don't have any concrete, this is my thing. I'm really good at this and that. And also just what our soul purpose is, what our passion is, why are you here? Um, Getting clear on that, because sometimes we also aren't super clear on that. Again, using our body and its innate intelligence as that information. And then once we build those foundations, and as well, and always throughout anything that I do is also mindfulness and self-compassion practice. So we'll be doing a lot of those, weaving that into every week's activities. And then from there, really looking at what your goals are, and trying to see where the misalignment is, and then finding out how to align it. And so that's where I'll use a lot of positive psychology and coaching practice, to do that. And then also, last but not least at all, is building your own kind of self-care, well-being toolkit,
Mm-hmm.
that is very tailored for yourself, because that's in order to sustain and have a sustainable business, sustainable practice, or just live in this crazy world that we live in. You have to pour back in what you're putting out. So really, we'll also work on that as well.
I think you
Yeah.
answered the question, but there was a curiosity when you were talking about the exercises. Are you really doing breakout rooms and engaging in exercises with each other? And if so,
Mhm.
how does the introvert feel comfortable in spaces like this?
Oh, good question. So number one, to answer the first part, yes, I love a good breakout. I love a good breakout room, either virtually or live. It doesn't matter. I love small group work because it's just how, and usually I do small groups. So like three, four at the most, but usually I like three for some reason. Um, and so it just, there is so much that happens there because, and usually I use question prompts and things like that. Um, and I think because it's a smaller group, the introvert, which I am a fellow member, INFP, hello everybody. You know, those spaces, for whatever reason, for me, I think usually I won't talk, I may not talk first, but once I start hearing like, oh my gosh, we're all connected basically. For me personally, and I think for a lot of fellow introverts, what I've heard from them is that it will kind of bring the guard down because it feels very safe. When you're in community, working with people who have the same common goal as you,
Mhm.
and especially in these types of communities, I think there just is an built-in safety net where we're all just going for the same goal, which is to serve and to just do what we're meant to do. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does thoroughly. And the way that we're structuring our series is Dr. Adaeza is taking Tuesdays and teaching the whole self aspect, which is including, the foundational tools of what she's talking about right now. And then I'll kind of follow up on Wednesdays and teach about compassionate communication. So it's really being able to take all that internal process that you've done and apply language to it so that you can turn around and speak to your spouse, your children, your friends, your family, your community, to your boss. You can then represent exactly all of that change that you just developed and not skip a beat. Because there's so much what I find with energy centric people is that we miss that mark. We do all this internal work and we know exactly who we are and we're flourishing. We're going light speed away and then we turn and we look at our bestie or the person across the table and they're just cross-eyed going, "What? I don't know where you are internally. That doesn't make sense to me." Because they weren't included in that journey with us. Because we can do it, not not saying that we can process quicker, but when we're more sensitive and more aware, empathics, clairvoyance, claircognizant, and we've built that trust with those abilities, we accept them and we can proceed at a quicker pace than maybe somebody who's still learning how to build that trust, which is a lot of the qualities of what Dr. Days is going to bring to the table. And then, like I said, we'll put it to words so that person who wasn't on that journey with you can look at you and go, wow, like, I want to understand that more, or I want to be with you more. Or they might say to you, I don't get it at all. And I don't know if we could still be in the same orbit because you are light years in front or behind or beside or just not where I am. And you can sense that with a love and embrace. And it won't feel like a conflict or something that's been taken away because you have these tools to feel we're all together. Oh, we're getting greetings from Arizona and many places around the world. It's nice to see you guys. Tiffany's asking, is this class on Learn It Live? It is. It's going to be over on Learn It Live. Here is the link if you missed it earlier. And it's laid out again Tuesdays and Wednesdays. You can look at all the time frames, everything of that nature. We are running a early bird special since you're here with us today. You can get $50 off the series. You can use the coupon. It's up on the screen. It is Mindful 2021. Type that into the Learn It Live before you check out. Apply the coupon and you'll get the discount. Because it's fun offering that. KDP is saying, ways to implement is the next day. My attention span. Ways to implement it the next day. My attention span thanks you. Because it's necessary. And like
Yeah.
taking it to heart and being able to talk about it and process it through compassionate communication. Thank you, Colleen, for putting that in. So with my time spent with you on Wednesdays, I mean, I can't even recall when compassionate communication came on my radar. Spirit was talking about it for a really long time in readings. And they described it as a 5-point process. And they would walk through the situation and with a certain approach. And I just loved it. And then I started hearing nonviolent communication. And then years later, found the book. And then a few years later, dived into it and started receiving lessons and workshops. And I've been globally traveling with that and in the process of getting my certification to call it nonviolent communication. But my hours are complete. I'm not yet certified, so we call it compassionate communication. But I'm going to break it down with the book Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. Colleen, if you're hanging out, you can post that link. If not, I will post it afterwards. So you can find the book. It's over on Amazon storefront on my page. And I believe it is. It might not be, but thinking about it, it is. And I'm going to base it on that book. So if you are somebody who needs to have a tangible like source in front of you, not just out on the internet, then that's the book to purchase. And we're going to go through it step by step. And I will tell you what chapters you can read to follow along. Do you have to read the chapters? Nope. If you're not a reading kind of a person, I'm going to have videos that I'll be posting that others have made so that you can learn it from different, sources that don't look like me, that don't sound like me, that don't approach it very silly, that maybe approach it more stern, and so that you can just get a full picture of what it's like to really communicate in a way straight from compassion. It's a lot easier to be mean and awful and shorthanded and possibly a little bit more difficult to stay within the realms of compassion. So that's what we're going to be practicing and staying in. Ed Gonzalez says, Dr. Adaeza and Jamie Butler, thank you for the difference that you both are making in the world. Thank you, Ed. And
Thank you.
Ham for the wonderful financial energy. That is so sweet. So does anybody out there have any questions, especially maybe on what whole self is? Because that is where Dr. Adaeza is coming from. And I was curious, what is your definition, Dr. Adaeza, of mindfulness? We hear the word all the time, but I think just sometimes it escapes us.
Yeah. So for me, there are multiple definitions floating out there, and it's become such a buzzword. I think oftentimes these days, I think people are getting confused about what it is. Is it meditation? Is it like, what is this? So for me, my definition is that mindfulness is a non-judgmental awareness of what is present with intention. So meaning, I'll break it down word by word. So
Yeah.
non-judgmental, meaning I'm observing, I'm looking, I'm seeing, but I'm not placing a label. I'm not trying to fix, change, control, right? Fellow control freaks out there like me. I'm just aware, right? And so non-judgmental awareness is pretty self-explanatory. Um, of what is excuse me, of what is present, so what is in front of us currently, so not, and that could be thoughts, that could be physical things like the laptop, the phone, Jamie's beautiful face of the present, and so not thinking forward, planning, not thinking backwards, ruminating, um, worrying, all of those things that are very common, especially for us in this kind of Western hustle and bustle culture of productivity and doing and moving and hustling and all of that stuff. It's really like what is in front of you now, and really just creating space for everything, which so good, quote unquote, bad, positive experiences, negative experiences, giving space to hold all of it, and then creating a buffer between a trigger or some kind of input and your reaction to it. Mindfulness is really that buffer in the middle. So you just become aware of what the trigger is, or the thing, or the activity, or the behavior. And then you kind of, it gives you a little bit of space to pause, observe without judgment, and then make a decision about how you're going to proceed. Do nothing, do something, boundaries, engage, whatever the thing may be. So hopefully that gives some clarity. And then in terms of the practice, there are multiple ways to practice mindfulness. For me, a lot of people kind of, it's synonymous with meditation. I don't think it is. I actually think it's a way of life. I think it's just a framework through which, a lens through which you can look at your life. So really, any kind of, that's why body scans are important, because you're literally paying attention to what is present in your body, like right now, which we often don't get to do. Mindful eating, so you eat slowly and you pay attention to what is actually, instead of shoveling it down your throat, right? So there's a lot of different ways to practice mindfulness, and we'll be doing some of that during our sessions together. Did that help?
Yeah, so you'll be doing some homework, because that is totally what I love doing, giving that homework for the week so that you slow down enough and you're processing the information. By the time you come back for the next little bite, you're ready for it. Instead of, this is something that could be taught probably over a weekend. We could really just deep dive and saturate all Saturday and close up on a Sunday, but I find it more valuable to get small bites so that I can take it aside and dissect it and figure out, how do I connect to it? How do I feel about it? And then come back to the table and be like, listen, this is what's going on with me. This is how do I, or where do I, and ask questions about the process. Oh, I love. So, Lorena, I love your description of Dr. Adaeza. I don't think she can see the write out right now, but she has a vision of you, and you're a type of soul that everybody comes to for advice. And then even after you transition, they keep the photograph of you in their homes or in their communities, because that was the person who left their mark on that territory and helped people really come together. A humanitarian. She goes, I hope my words are really expressing what's being showed to me. She just really wanted to share it. I love it. She goes, sorry, I was just typing, practicing what was, putting down what was showing up. No, it's beautiful. Thank you. I enjoy that.
Thank you so much.
I feel similar about you. It's like whenever I'm around you, I get a little giddy. And then I'm just like, what else is she going to say? What else? Because I feel like I learned so much. And you don't come at it from a strict teacher point style. Your style of education is not I'm the leader in the room and I'm going to tell you what's going on. You are just so authentic about it, and you're just like, come here, let's just do this. Let's collaborate as we're learning this together. And it's like, okay, I feel really comfortable. I love it. Yes, Dr. Adaeza, what drew you and Jamie together spirituality and medicine don't always get together. Well, the Love and Light Institute drew us together, the nonprofit, the humanitarian cause, helping people. That was probably it for me. That was the first time I met you. And then it was just silliness from there on out. And I was like, she's on my list. Whether she likes it or not, I was she's on my list. And I would send her texts and I'd be like, I don't know if she even remembers who I am. I'm like, hey.
No, it's so funny. It's the same. It's so funny because when we first met, I felt very seen with you. So, and I don't feel that way about many people really, which, everyone's hustling and bustling. But I felt very we have a connection. I don't know what it is. We've met before or something. And then from there on, yeah, and then the silliness and it's just been a thing from the very beginning. Yeah.
I love it. So let's take a moment before all of this time gets away from us, who is someone that would take this series? So even luminaires, put your heads together and you can come up with ways. It's just a nice way to see what deficit is maybe lurking that we're not looking at. Because a lot of times for us energy centric people, we're taught that our type of life, our lifestyle, is positive. Like we're only supposed to think in positive thinking, and it can be really detrimental to us. And so we always have the smile on our face, you know, and everything is good and everything is fine and we're bright and we're happy. And this other vibration is building up underneath, but we're not going to look at it because we're taught, or maybe some of our belief systems are that we only focus on that which we want to manifest or create, and we don't look at the whole picture. And so this other part over here is sitting festering, but we're thinking we're doing the good work and the great work and the perfect work because our outwardly show is spectacular, but on the inside, pockets of it are rotting. Does that sound like something that you're aware of or that you've gone through? And Adaeza, who do you think best fit this little 6-week series?
Yeah, I mean, even as you're saying that, it's interesting because I know that your community is mostly, in this kind of spiritual realm, but I mean, anybody in any profession, really anybody who lives in the Western world, I think could benefit from this. And I say that I'm laughing, but I'm so serious because we, just like you're saying, in your community, or in our community, I should say, there's a lot of presenting um, almost a mask of
Yes.
positivity and everything's great and I'm fine, but you're like dying on the inside, right?
Yes. Like, where's
That
the
is common
authenticity?
in medicine. Yeah,
Really?
so thinking about when I can't recall the person who asked the question, but spirituality and medicine, how did they? But there's so much actual parallel because in medicine, for instance, we have to project, I'm fine, I'm okay. This does not bother me. Yes, there is a global pandemic, but whatever. I'm just doing the good work, right? I'm in service. But on the inside, it's like, I'm suffering, I'm sad, I'm grieving, this sucks. You know what I mean? And so there's actually a lot of parallel. So I think anybody could take this, anybody could benefit from learning these techniques of compassionate communication for sure. Reading that book, I mean, that has changed my whole trajectory just in the last month of me reading it. Because we do communicate with ourselves and therefore others with an edge, and we don't even really realize it because we aren't taught those skills. Um, so yeah, I think really anybody who wants to create a life that is full and not externally driven. Even you can be externally driven even if you're doing good work, right?
Yes.
And not be coming from like full like thriving, right?
Yeah.
So,
Full authenticity. Like, it's okay for us to talk
mhm.
and to pull energy from, aggression and anger and depression, and as well as happiness and joy, to say that all these frequencies are freaking awesome and they're great and they're perfect. Instead of saying, these select few get a lot of praise. So we just need to hang out over here and screw the rest of the bandwidth. It's like, no, we can't
Yes.
do that anymore. Stop it. This is what
And
this.
that's the non and thinking back about this definition of mindfulness, that's the non-judgment aspect of it, right? And everything has information and intelligence. Your rage, your excitement, and instead of shunning anger, shunning the rage, I so the steps would be I'm angry right now. Like actually no, I feel uncomfortable. Why do I feel uncomfortable? My chest is hurting, my heart's racing. What's happening? I'm mad. I'm pissed off actually. And normally what we may do, some of us, me, may go fly off the handle, send an angry text message, whatever. Mindfulness. Why am I angry? What just happened? Usually it's a violation of your boundaries or violation of a value system or core belief. And then, okay, felt violated, didn't like that. Now what? How, first of all, how do I soothe myself and get myself feeling better, calm, grounded? And then, okay, I'm angry. Now what am I going to do with it? So it's just a slowing down and a buffer. Um, so yeah, but I think anybody would benefit from all of these skills for sure.
Absolutely. And I find in that buffer zone, the healing happens, and often the treacherous or maybe difficult expression of those emotions that we don't enjoy so much don't even need to be expressed because the buffer provided that space for them to, heal up, to be seen, to
Yeah,
be acknowledged. Like Pure Love Ascension is saying, be the frequency you want to receive. I totally agree with that. And I would add, without ignoring the frequencies that are occurring in you. Like that's the catch thing for the Mindful Soul series.
that's right.
We have a lot of Jay Ree says, thank you for bringing this up. I could often feel guilty when I'm in low frequency or dealing with depression when I'd like to be a healer. Yeah, and this,
Hmm.
does not need to stop you from achieving that which you see yourself doing at all. Tara says, yes, I'm finally coming out of a period of complete depletion from that. It's taken years to get where I am now with lots of pain to see myself through. Yes. And Mary Misty June, I want to squeeze you. I love this statement. Be you, boo, and be better for it. But we need to make some t-shirts.
I love that.
So Tiffany is pretty much saying, I think what we both agree with is, I think everyone should take this course. Can't wait to be a part of it. Well, if you can't wait to be a part of it, please take the time now to go over to Learn It Live and check out a little bit more information about it. You can also read more about it up on my website. And here is that link over on the website. And Dr. Adaeza and I will be getting together and talking a lot more about this so that you can just get a better feel for it as well. So this isn't going to be the only time that we're going to say, hey, it's time, and at least share how we both are quite excited and support this material. I love that she's a person of color, says Claudia. Yay! Yes, it's very nice to find people that you enjoy, or that look like you, or sound like you, or feel like you on the inside. That helps in assimilating the information. So, yes. Thank you. Shift happens. Yes. Is there anything else, Dr. Adaeza, that you'd like to share about the series? I know we're starting in October, so everybody who's here has a little bit of time to look at their schedule. We're deciding to do it in late afternoons, Eastern Standard Time, so it will catch a late lunch. And for people who are in Pacific Time, early morning, and then Europe, it'll catch you in the evenings. So we're really conscious about that kind of mid-late afternoon slot, so it hits many time zones. And I didn't mean to ask the question and then step over you. So is there anything that you would like to share?
No, no, all good, all good. No, I'm very excited about this. I think these two things blend just like me and you. Blend so perfectly together. And I'm looking forward to learning from whoever attends as well as definitely
No.
sharing because I think just like you said earlier, that is definitely my style. I think we all have genius within us, and we just have to get together and co-create what we want, and I think we all can help each other in that process. So I'm just really looking forward to the journey and meeting everybody. And yeah, I think it's going to be it's also going to be fun. I am not a serious person. Don't let this
True.
voice fool you. I want
Don't
us
let
to
her
have fun together
intelligence
too.
fool you. Did you hear me? Don't let her intelligence fool you. She's still a silly person. Which leads me to this. Like, this is a lot of first time meeting for people. So I'm putting up Dr. Adaeza's Instagram handle. So if that's okay, I'm totally posting it. So if
Yes.
you are going, okay, who is this woman and where has she been all my life? You can now cyberstalk her on Instagram, and here is her company that she has created outside of all her medicinal work. It's Align and Aspire, and you can find her on alignandaspire.com. So there's a little bit of that.
Yes.
Yay. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your vacation to join me on live stream today. And I look
Oh
forward to
gosh.
coming back.
Yes, I can't wait to come back. I can't wait for us to get started. And this is just part of my vacation. So I'm loving it. So thank you for adding to my beach time. Yeah, this is great.
Say hello to the ocean, Yamaja, for me, please.
Oh, most definitely.
To all the luminaires out there, thank you for chilling and listening and maybe discovering an added definition of mindfulness or compassionate communication, speaking from the heart, from an emotional standpoint, or even getting excited about maybe learning some new tools or techniques for yourself. Mindful Soul series starts in October. You have the links in the thread. We'd love to see you over there. And for anyone who's interested in the JB Mentorship 2022, applications are open, and the requirement or prerequisite is definitely going to be the Mindful Soul series to prep you to launch your spiritual business, your solopreneurship in an energy-centric world. Here it is. Thank you so much for being here, Luminaires. Thank you so much, Dr. Adaeza. And remember, this is not woo-woo. It's true. And we will see you shortly back on social media. Everybody saying thank you to Dr. Adaeza. Enjoy the beach, says Shelly Ham. Ed Gonzalez, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Take care, everybody. Bye.